Scratch that. My mute was on. Sorry, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Paris Procopa Show. And of course, Hilario saying time for another 2-hour show. God, I hope not. But hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. Yes, Nick knows what I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, the shocking news and yeah, 2, 3, 4 hours. Well, not shocking news, not entirely unexpected. It was, I mean, let's be real. She was up there in age, several battles with cancer and everything like that. The death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the impact she's had on our country for many years. She was appointed, I think, in 1993. She was a Clinton appointee. And with almost, it was kind of interesting. She was actually nominated and appointed in an era where Supreme Court justices actually got almost a super majority. The only exception was just the nomination of Robert Bork many years ago. But Ginsberg, I believe, got 97 votes in the Senate. I think Scalia got 94 or something like that. It was really a really high amount for both of them because there was, in the end, there was a bit of decorum. It wasn't the crap that's happening now. I mean, even Obama's justices got several Republican voters, good or bad. I mean, it just is what it is. But she came from a different era. But yeah, Hilario's like 19 years old and he swears that she was going to outlive him. Yeah, so she was definitely, she hung on. You gotta admire her spirit of hanging on. So that's always something. But I'm having a problem tonight because I hope I sound okay. I didn't set up my sound barrier or anything like that, so I don't know if I sound like I'm in an echo chamber or something like that. Although you look behind me and you see a big room. So hopefully I sound okay, people. But it was a very, people are the venom is coming out, and I'm talking about people on my side. And, the death of a person, the death of a human being is always a tragic situation. It's a very difficult situation, no matter what. She's a human being. Yeah, I didn't agree with almost everything that she did on the court. I didn't agree with, but I could still take a moment to recognize her humanity. And, you're on the court, you're serving your country, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, you're on the court for 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, 1993. I mean, she's been on the court for a long time. And people are saying, good, it's about time the old bat died and all that stuff. And it's just like, people simmer down a little bit for two reasons. One of them, recognize the fact that she's a human being, like I just said, but also you realize that those are the people that are going to get all the attention. See, the Republicans are unhinged. Don't act like the Democrats are acting. Don't act like the Democrats would act. Don't act like they acted when Antonin Scalia passed away. It was a very like I said, it was unsurprising. I mean, man, that woman was able to hang on for a long time, and she does. She's an accomplished woman. We got to celebrate that and that type of thing. And she's been on the Supreme Court for a long time. So I'm a little at a loss of words because I've seen such venom spewed. And I saw the same thing. I remember years ago when Joe Biden, vice president, when his one son died from, I think it was brain cancer. And I said to her, I said about that, my sympathies to the Biden family. No one should have to bury their child. And people are like, oh, he was a liberal. Who cares? It is the same thing with Robin Williams, oh, his politics. It's like, people, settle down, please. But we just can't. But I also acknowledge the fact that the Democrats are going to go batshit crazy. Let's be real. They went crazy when Scalia went because they were hoping to be able to unseat a staunch conservative and replace them with a liberal, what Obama called a moderate. I think his name was, oh God, I don't even remember what the guy's name was. He's Gardner or something like that. I don't remember. But oddly enough, and this is, I actually disagreed with Mitch McConnell a few years ago. I was concerned because, like a lot of people, we were, there was always a chance that we would end up losing, and then he would appoint an even harsher liberal than Merrick Garland. That's what the guy's name. He would have appointed an even worse justice than that and whatever. And I was like, okay, maybe we should try to take as moderate as we can get because we know Obama's never going to appoint a conservative. Mitch McConnell held his feet. He held steadfast. First time I've ever seen him do that. He must have gotten some Viagra or something because he was definitely showing some intestinal fortitude. Now he's basically saying, you know what? We're going to seat the next justice. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. And Jay, interesting you should say that. That is, hey, Stephen, how's it going? It is Amy Coney Barrett, who is, she's this brilliant jurist. She's a judicial conservative, solid. She's very much like Antonin Scalia in a lot of ways, except she's much better looking. And I think she's healthier too, so that should be helpful. Strict originalist is what we always want on the court. It is. Yep, it even says it in here. I'm not sure where Jay Schrader got this from, but it's exactly that. Human being true. She took a lot of lumps considering all the health issues she had to deal with. However, well, clearly, this is definitely true, Ed. You know what? I'm going to have you on. Ed, look, come on the show if you want. I'll send you a link. We'll do what we can to keep it somewhat short, but hey, it's Friday night. What are we going to do? But I want people think that let's assuming everything goes our way and Barrett is on the court before the end of the year, and suddenly the conservatives have, it's not 5-4, it's more 6-3. Well, my 5.5 by 3.5, basically, because you never know where Roberts is going to fall. But it's everybody's assuming, we're going to get rid of abortion. And that really ticks me off with the conservatives. Everybody wants a strict constitutionalist, but then everybody wants that justice. Conservatives want that justice to immediately rule on the case before he even has the merits of the case in front of him or her. That is not strict constitutionalist. That is legislating from the bench. So, well, hello, Kimberly. Welcome to the show. Oh, Megas, we got to have you on. Who else is watching? I'm looking through here. Tracy's here. Hello, Tracy. We got Hilaria. We got Darlene. Nachos is watching through YouTube. Hello, Nachos. Hope all is well. We'll have a lot of stuff to talk about next week. I'm going to connect with Nachos. Nachos, do me a favor. Put up your links to your show, whatever, the name of your show and everything, so I can post it so people can find it. And let's see what we're doing here. I'm trying to get Ed Delgado on here because of the fact that I'm sure he has a lot to say too. But this, this is a big deal. The impact is going to be interesting. And then the big question, some people will ask that question, should we or shouldn't we be appointing a Supreme Court justice now? And the way I look at it constitutionally, President Trump is president until January 20th. Technically, I actually thought Obama should have been able to appoint a Supreme Court justice, but unfortunately, he didn't control the Senate. So it maybe, it is what it is. But, I'm going to take it because I think we need to set a judge. And I think everybody knows it's probably going to be Coney Barrett. I think it's finally done catching up now. Yay. Awesome. So we're going to have Ed Delgado on in a minute. Yep. And yeah, judges should always rule based on our Constitution. And I think it is that, what the law is versus what they want it to be. And unfortunately, like Obamacare, Justice Roberts, on what he wanted the law to be. It was just, he saw something there. Now, I can respect when somebody goes against, we've had that situation with Brian Hagedorn here. In Wisconsin, America. All right. So I got to tell you a story of this guy who's kind of a half Puerto Rican, half Mexican guy. Who knows why he's here? Who knows? He keeps on showing up on my show for some reason. I can't figure it out. And oh dear God. Okay. Welcome, Ed Delgado, the man, the myth, the legend.
Uh-oh. How you doing tonight?
My mind is spiraling. How about yourself?
I'm not gonna say I'm spiraling or anything like that. I got a friend who did a podcast tonight, and he made it seem like, RBG is this huge pillar of society and that it fracturing the nation, her loss was that great. And before I say anything else, any loss of life is terrible, but she was not a unifier. This is not a shock. As a matter of fact, a lot of people, she died like 2 or 3 months ago when she was in the hospital. I mean, was she in the hospital like back to back over the spring and summer? I think one time for cribs and then another time, a couple times for her cancer. So this shouldn't have come as a surprise, but
hey, Stephanie.
Yeah, it's always a terrible thing. It's always a terrible thing when somebody dies. I mean, I don't care. And it doesn't matter if you expect it to happen. When it does happen, it still sucks.
It is. Hi, Dawn. Dawn's in the house too. Yeah, it sucks. And I feel for her family. They lost a loved one. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we go along a little bit later, because, there's a couple things in as conservatives and as Americans, we got to respect the office, no matter how, I got a chance to meet Bill Clinton years ago when he was president. I shook his hand.
Yep.
And because I respected the office, I didn't, had I run into Obama, I would have shaken his hand too. I would have been polite, cordial, and everything else, because you have to respect the office.
Well, and it's funny that you should say that, because I had a lot of people, a lot of my friends and associates like, well, if I was at the White House, I'd tell Obama off, or I would do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, you wouldn't. Just don't go. I mean, I was not Obama's fan at all. Like, I knew him when he was in the Illinois Senate. And I'll tell you, if you are sitting at that Oval Office, I will say, yes, sir, no, sir, shake your hand, thank you, sir.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what party. It is the office of the presidency.
Yep. And the same thing with Supreme Court justices and stuff like that. I mean, like her or not, she's quite accomplished, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's got a, she grew grew up from, if I'm not mistaken, she was very humble upbringing and everything else. So it's, yeah, I don't agree with all her political, not political, but her judicial choices. Not all of them. There are actually a couple that I did agree with.
Sure.
Especially there was one where it, although it didn't happen, they were going to deport you, but I agreed with that. I couldn't help it, dude.
It's hard not to want to deport me back to Milwaukee. I know. I try hard to get the hell out of there. I even did my own little YouTube video. It's called Escape from Milwaukee, with just me like hiking it, just not as cool as Snake Plissken, but
Oh, there was a great
God, I'm old.
Remember years ago there was those bumper stickers that said "Escape to Wisconsin." I took one and I cut the word "to" out there, and it just said "Escape Wisconsin." So then at the same time,
you should have done that with like Tony Hughes.
God, I remember. And then we had Jeffrey Dahmer and Cryptosporidium in the water in Milwaukee. They said, "Milwaukee, you can't drink the water, but you can eat the people." Okay, we're digressing. This is great, Doogie. 95117-845. I don't know who you are, but thank you for joining the show. Dougie agreed with her, disagreed with her political view, but I think you can pray for her family. This is what am I asking for? I mean, have we gotten so scarred? Good, someone died. Good, her family can piss off. She deserves it. And what Tracy said earlier, with regarding it, for someone who had pancreatic cancer. I mean, usually the prognosis with pancreatic cancer is like 6 months, and she held on for several years.
Well, didn't she have like 4 different types of cancer? Like that was the crazy thing. Like, all right, so you beat one, another one took its place. You beat that one. The other one came back. You kicked its ass. And then another one came back. And you said, "No, I'm gonna hang on here for quite a while." I mean, if that's not an indomitable spirit, agree with her, disagree with her views, I don't know what is. That in and of itself is deserving of respect.
Yes, it is.
Now, that being said, though, now I got to ask you this question. So it's being reported that one of the last things that she had said or written that would have a replacement for her seat until the next president comes in. So my friend on his podcast, a friend of mine out in New York, Alex Garrett, he said that, hey, we should get political. Well, I'm the person who will tell you that everything's political, from a person's death to the cartoons that your kids watch, comic books, movies, you name it, it's all political. Now, that being said, I think that she made this political right from the get-go. She knew she was on her way out. She doesn't want her seat to be selected by Trump. She wanted to wait till the next president. Did she make this political? Did she not?
Well, clearly she did. It was obvious because she has a certain ideological bend. But look at, I mean, what Megas is saying here. They withheld the truth from the public as to how bad it actually was and everything like that. She should have actually stepped down. But on the flip side, let's be honest. Let's say the tables were turned and she was a staunch conservative. She was a Scalia conservative. She would have still hung on for our side. And would we be complaining? It's politics. It just happened.
How many Supreme Court justices have died in office?
Yep. Who have held on to the bitter end. And then I'm actually going to go watch the movie The Pelican Brief again, and just because that seems interesting. But I know that the Democrats already have a plan. I mean, they're going to try to block this. They're going to try to pick off Romney. And now Susan Collins, I have a feeling she's going to be on board with electing a Supreme Court justice or appointing one, because she's up in the toughest re-election battle of her life. And if they can pull this off before the November election, I think she'll be on there. So I think this could end up being just a tie-breaking vote with Pence.
Hmm. Well, and it's going to be interesting watching this because you have Schumer already quoting McConnell from back in 2016
Yeah.
when Democrats when Republicans in the Senate ended up holding up Merrick Garland's confirmation vote. Now, I'm on the same page with you. I was the person who said, no, he needs to vote up or down. Why they did what they did, though, because Democrats had done that in the previous administration. So it's like, okay, turnaround is fair play. But now it's interesting because Democrats, like they usually like to do, they're either projecting something or they're going to play the victim. You know, poor woe is me. You did this to us last time, so now this is the standard. And it's like, no, we got until January 20th to do everything that we need to do, and that's just the bottom line. You didn't like the last time? No, it's like Jackson said. What have you done for me lately? Why are you bringing up old stuff?
Yep. And yeah, Dawn's right. Yeah, no matter what side you're on, you're not able to do your job, you should step down, and that's a big question.
Mm-hmm.
RBG died on November 19th, on January 19th, according to Fox News. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, they're interesting. There are 8 justices on Bubba 50/50 is saying there are 8 justices on this, and Trump needs to put in his nomination. If he does not, if it does, it cannot go to the Supreme Court. I'm not sure what that means. Can you clarify a little bit, Bubba? Oops, sorry, didn't. Go ahead.
I think what he means is that if it does get to the Supreme Court, well, number one, whether or not they're going to vote to take the case if it gets to that point, and then of course, what happens if there's a tie in the Supreme Court? And usually, in that case, in the ties that you just kick down to the lower jurisdiction, and that last ruling is what stands. But in the case of presidential decisions, straight to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, yep. But actually, and what we're seeing being played in the state of Pennsylvania right now, where they're trying to, the governor is saying, no, the signatures don't have to match on the ballots, and all that crap, and they're trying to.
Oh my God.
Only the legislature can, and it's specifically stated in the Constitution in Article 2, only the legislative branch can determine how electors are selected and stuff like that. I don't think the Supreme Court can actually settle this. I don't think constitutionally they can. It'll be very interesting. Yeah, this is absolutely true. This should play first of many October surprises. This should play well for the GOP if they don't fuck it up. And that's why I'm saying all these morons out there, good, I'm glad she's dead. She deserved to suffer all her life, blah, blah. People are stupid. It just bugs me to high hell. Maybe I'm just better there. I don't know.
Give me 1 second. I got to grab something out of the refrigerator real quick here. I need a Coke. All right. I'm empty.
Okay. And
I don't want to be parched. That's what I'm saying.
Coke adds life, my friend. All right. Yeah. Democrats, if they riot over this, yeah, David, you're correct. If they do riot over this, they're definitely in danger. And this is exactly what people are saying. Because one of my more conservative friends, she was saying, oh, this is horrible for the Republicans and it's going to rile up their base and stuff like that. The death of Antonin Scalia didn't rile up the base. They had a chance to pick off one of the most consistent conservatives on the Supreme Court back in 2016. And Mitch McConnell stopped that from happening. Remember, they said, oh, that's going to motivate all the voters to come out and vote for Hillary Clinton because of that. And I don't, they're going to screw the pooch once again. They're going to use this in a battle. They're trying to take our rights, and it's going to be all abortion. I guarantee it. Our right to choose is in danger.
Oh, right to choose. Kind of like my face mask.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
When I have no choice but to put one on, it's right here.
Oh man, you just like stirring the pot, don't you? You know, just
I do. So it sounds like somebody else I know. It's Greek Puerto Rican thing here, man. This is beautiful.
You should have seen me in Qdoba with my 14-year-old. We were ordering dinner, and we were going in there to order dinner. You know how you stand in line to order your food, and he's like, "You have to put a mask on." And it's like, and I could see on her apron she had her little pin of a recent slogan that's all on the causing all the hysteria right now. And so I said, "You did not do it," because I had one of these blue masks in my pocket too, because I temper it with common sense. I don't want to get the shit kicked out of me somewhere or something like that. Did I just swear? Oh well, too bad.
Right.
Yep. But then I put this on. You could immediately see the look of regret on her face. Thank God you could actually watch them preparing your food as they're moving it down. So I watched her like a hawk because you knew she was pissed.
Well, and it was kind of funny for me today because I'm at several different locations, and a couple of them are very firm about wearing a face mask. So when I'm on my actual job, fine, I'll play by your rules. I'll do whatever. Yeah. Cool. But I'm going to do it my way. You will not like it. And I'm a bigger guy. So this one young lady, she came up to me and she was like, hey, that's a good mask. That's she smiled and nodded. And I'm like, I know. And I go, I love it because I get dirty looks all the time. So her response was, I'm sure you do. I go, but it's funny because nobody ever does or says anything to me. And I just think it's hilarious because a lot of it is just this. Get die. And it's like, well, that's all you're going to do. Fine. Cool. Move along.
Move along. Nothing to see here, folks. Well, yeah.
It's interesting. You mentioned the riots, though.
The what?
I love Tracy's comment here. You mentioned riots, though, especially as it relates to the upcoming Supreme Court nominee, and I believe that there will be one, and I believe this individual will be confirmed by Election Day. I don't think necessarily it's going to play against the Democrats any worse than what it has. All it's going to do is solidify that swing voter, that independent, that person that actually had to deal with riots in their city, suburbs, and other areas that were walkaway Democrats, essentially. I think it's going to solidify their vote.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it will solidify their vote. And actually, I honestly think there's no more swing voters. The swingers have swung. I mean, they're wherever. I think the chessboard is set. It's just a matter of who loses their king.
Yeah.
In the end, the difference between Kavanaugh confirmation and the soon-to-be Barrett hearings, I think we're all set. I think that's the whole point of this. President Trump has her on deck. He doesn't have to do anything. Although I still would love for him to appoint what Sykes, Charlie Sykes' wife. That would be just to piss him off. But anyway, Antifa BLM they're already mobilized, and that's the whole thing. Oh man.
But do you see the latest thing going on with them? They were supposed to do the siege on the White House as of yesterday, and they canceled it. They actually renamed it Impromptu Jazz in rally type thing right in the White House area. And they canceled it because what they're afraid of is what's happening now is that the president and the DOJ are now federalizing state and sheriff's departments, and they're now facing federal charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's scaring the hell out of them.
Uh-huh. And so it's keeping the wolves at bay, so to speak. Joe Pags just said it 30 minutes ago. He doesn't think Trump will pick a justice before election. And he may not. It's the ball's in his court. I don't know strategically what the best move to make is. Is he going to wait and see? They could take their time with it if the election is decisive and whatever. I mean, this could, because the flip side, this could also massively backfire. If he appoints a justice now to cram it through, he could be perceived as, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what, I know what I want him to do, but I don't know what's politically prudent. And quite frankly, he's a very strategic thinker. Now, the beautiful part about this, if they have the hearings but don't confirm the justice yet before the election, they can still have the hearings. There's nothing wrong with that.
There it is.
This is an excellent point right here. Keeping Kamala. I just noticed what he wrote. Horace. I just saw that. Keeping Kamala Harris off the campaign trail. But yeah, Joe Pags is a wanker. Although
that's big. It's big PP energy. Big PP energy right there.
Yep. An unimpeachable nominee. And that would have to be, I mean, I don't know, Dave Miller, who do you think would be? I think Comey Barrett is the one he has on deck, and I think she'd be phenomenal. And plus, she's absolutely gorgeous, but and her mind, I love her mind, but she's got these, I think they're blue eyes. It just, anyway. I was so hoping, I'll say it. I mean, back with Bill Clinton, remember when he appointed, what was her name? Kimba Wood. It's ironic that her last name was Wood. I'll just leave it at that. But I think,
God.
Yeah, but she was absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, I didn't mind her, even though I didn't want her on the court, but I was like, I could handle looking at her for a few years. But I'm being a guy now. But anyway, yes, Amy Coney Barrett is Coney Barrett. She's incredibly brilliant. I mean, yes, Tracy,
he needs a couple of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm Greek. We do everything with passion. Does she have big hands? Who knows? But anyway, she's brilliant. If you look back at her, read up on her. She's incredibly accomplished. And I mean, we're the same age too. So it makes me feel like crap, because look at what I haven't accomplished in my life at this point. But anyway, no, she's insanely pro-life, and that'll be very difficult. And that's where Collins will have the conundrum, because Collins is more pro-life than not, pro-choice than not. And Collins is in the political fight of her life right now. Is she willing to sacrifice herself to keep a justice off the court? Because I think we can only lose 3, right? Yeah, we're 53 in the Senate. Or is it? Yeah. So if we lose 3, that brings it down to a 50-50 tie, and then comes Romney. And that'll be the conundrum that Romney would have, because I think he still has some conservative bends ideologically, or is he going to be an asshole because he hates Trump? Tom Cotton.
It's all Trump hate.
Yep. That's an interesting.
It's all Trump hate. I mean, the guy's a carpetbagger. You know, it's Trump hate. He's mad because Trump did what he couldn't do in a lifetime, and he did it, within the course of one election cycle. So it's always fascinated me, these never Trumpers, the Charlie Sykes of the world. What fascinates me about them is that Trump has literally made these people irrelevant. These are the people that say, you know what, buy my books, listen to my show, do this, do that, read my articles. I'm a contributor to X, Y, and Z. And we need to get a businessman, because that's the big line that I've heard for the last 20 some years. We get one in there. He's willing to fight. He's willing to change things. He's willing to ruffle up the system. And they're mad because he's doing what they wanted to do all these years, and he's being effective and making them irrelevant all at the same time. Really, what's interesting about that is that these never Trumpers could have actually come on board and been like, cool, this is what we wanted. However, going back to Supreme Court justice, what about a dark horse? Ted Cruz.
I actually, think Sarah Sanders. Interesting. I actually think that I always said I would love Ted Cruz on the Supreme Court. I think he'd be excellent on the Supreme Court. I mean, even you ask him about certain subjects. Yeah, he's vehemently pro-life, but I'm looking for a justice. I mean, Comey Barrett is unabashedly pro-life, but which is going to hurt her in the long run. However, she's also a very good jurist. I don't think she's going to judge a case before it comes to her, and she actually knows the merits of the case. I trust that about her. But obviously, the conservatives, they'll bork her. They'll try to do something to her. Get this. I mean, Tom Cotton, he's staunch Republican and stuff like that. I never thought of him as SCOTUS material. I don't know much about him. Do you know anything about him?
Very little. Very little.
Yep. This is actually a great idea. Bring the freak out. Yeah, that's true. We actually kept the Senate because of the Kavanaugh hearings.
Yep.
Ted Cruz would be great. Trey Gowdy, I don't think Trey Gowdy is as good as people think he is. I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is.
No, I got to disagree with you on that. I think the guy's phenomenal. However, I don't think he's good as a justice. I think he's great as a senator. He is phenomenal as a prosecutor because the guy is a shark. I mean, once he smells blood, he goes in for the kill. That's not what you look for in a Supreme Court justice.
No,
That's
you want
an interesting pick there.
Sarah Sanders. I don't know. I don't know.
Sarah's kind of savage, though.
Yeah. Although Kayleigh McEvee, I think she'd be great just to hear her arguing with us. Why did you even bring this case to my court? Why are you such a moron? I can imagine her doing that. Oh, man.
That would be hilarious.
Trey Gowdy has really bad hair. I love that. I love that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Something about Gowdy. It's just an instinct thing that I've got an issue with him. I don't know. But it's sad,
it's the fall hawk.
Yep. But I'm looking. What the thing that really disappoints me, that was my one disappointment about President Trump. I've got a couple of them, minor things, but my one big disappointment with him is that he didn't pick Comey Barrett back with instead of Kavanaugh. Because Kavanaugh hasn't been let's be honest, he's been okay, but he's not been the best justice on the court. He's no Alito or Thomas by any stretch of imagination. I mean, he's still better than anyone that the Democrats would have appointed, but he's kind of let us down in a couple things.
True, but at the same time, this is 4D chess we're done talking about. Yeah, if she got nominated and everything, we have really kind of pushed the Supreme Court in such a way that it would have worked against him. Maybe somebody with the temperament of Kavanaugh would have been like, okay, this is what we need to run with now, but we need to keep this justice here on deck. Because that was the first thing that I heard coming up.
Yeah, I think this is probably true. Getting him confirmed because of the makeup of the Senate, and that's probably why he picked up, because we gained a couple seats after that. Yeah, and that was his way of getting the olive branch out there, and maybe it was a necessary thing. He's done some necessary things with the swamp creatures, and that might be it. Tim Scott would be interesting. Actually, I mean, is there a prominent jurist, a black conservative jurist, that female that could be appointed to the court? I mean, like, I don't know if Condoleezza Rice has that type of background, or someone, with that type of pedigree, I guess, somebody who has that type of background. I'm not talking. I'm not talking. Yeah, I'm not talking race, but I'm talking somebody who has a good. Yeah, there's nothing saying you have to be a lawyer to be a justice, but I think there needs to be some kind of some kind of track record out there. I think you need a track record, and that's where. Remember when Bush appointed that one woman before Alito? He appointed her. He had to pull her because even the Republicans said, "What? Are you freaking kidding?" She was just some kind of crackpot that he appointed that was just weird. Ted Nugent. That'd be fun. Hey, appoint me. I could be on there. I should be Speaker of the House. Why? Because
you could just imagine being on C-SPAN, right? You could just imagine being on C-SPAN, right? And they're doing like the Supreme Court hearings and stuff, and they like go to one justice, they go to another, and they go to like Justice Nugent, and there's like a deer head hanging behind. He's got like a 30-30 in the back, and it's just, you know, he's got all kinds of stuff. He's cleaning out his 357. He's got the newest gear and stuff, and he's sitting with like his Supreme Court justice robe, but yet he's got like a Kevlar vest over it. And he's got a hat on that says the Nuge.
He's like,
I can see that.
So you're certain you have a good argument here? All right, tell me more.
Yeah,
Get out of my court.
Tell me what you. Yeah, tell me what you really think here, guys. I just, yeah. Oh, good God.
As he's cleaning his nails with his knife. Yeah,
right.
Chop to Yoda. I don't want to hear you anymore.
Listen, I really don't get what you're trying to tell me. So you're saying a baby is what? And he's just cleaning his nails the whole time.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the deer head's got in the background with the eyes moving and stuff. It's just.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is the only person that he could logically appoint right now or recommend is Barrett. And the only thing I could think of is we've got the 50-50 chance there.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned logically. What about unconventionally?
Unconventional would be Tim Scott.
That would be.
I liked him. Well,
and it's interesting because didn't Tim Scott a couple of years ago get pulled over? He got pulled over by DC police for basically driving while black. And he had made a speech, I believe it was on the Senate floor, where he talked about, hey, this does happen. You do get, pulled over just because you're a black man driving. And didn't something like that happen to him? Because I believe, I want to say he had talked about that at one point.
I hear it in the back of my mind, but I mean, it didn't. I don't know how that would impact. Yeah, he was.
I think it impacts only right, and I think it impacts to the extent that to a rational Democrat, to a classic liberal, and that's what I'm going to refer to as people that are left of center, that you aren't radicalized. You're not batshit crazy. When you're that classic liberal that's opposite of conservatism, but you're not anti-American. So that classic liberal that's telling you, hey, we need police reform. Okay, please tell me, what is police reform? Because what we're hearing today from a lot of the BLM, the Antifa, they're not telling you what police reform is. What they're telling you is defund the police. Okay, that's not an answer. That's causing more problems, i.e. Minneapolis. If you're saying we need police reform, then tell us what it is we need. Tim Scott could be that bridge that would say, hey, classic liberals, let's sit down here. Let's have the conversation. Let's put our heads together. Let's figure out what it is. And then let's try to do something and then give the answer to what is the correction to police reform. Because nobody has that answer. Nobody. And I don't care how many times you chant Black Lives Matter.
And the fact of the matter is, you take with the whole police subject, they've always been reforming. They're constantly thinking new ways or, ways to police.
Yep.
So it needs to be a proactive instead of reactive. Because if you're reacting, that's when you're causing the issues. That's why you have some officers might not be trained very well. But it turns out even the officers in Minneapolis actually did live up to their training for the most part. There were some things in there. The one thing they didn't do is call for medical help, but they should have called for medical help a lot when he was all delirious and stuff like that. They should have had medical help there at that point. But in the end, and the knee holding once the threat is contained, you're doing it. But we're getting into the weeds. This is interesting.
Right.
Megas is saying to Dave Miller's point, so we're having a fight in no, I'm just kidding. But BLM has nothing to do with black empowerment. And clearly they don't. They are a Marxist organization. The organization is
correct.
The concept of Black Lives Mattering. Yeah, I agree with that. Everybody agrees with that. Just like agree that, short Greek guys matter too, whatever. But it's the organization. They're admittedly Marxist and they're causing a revolution. So I think trying to appease them by appointing someone, and I don't think Trump likes to appease people. He's done that a couple times because he's had to. He's playing poker or playing chess, but I don't think he's going to do something to appease everybody. And I think everybody's saying Barrett, but do you think there is a surprise out there?
Well, and that's kind of my thinking right now, because there's nothing conventional about President Trump. There's nothing about what he does. And I remember when he first got into office, everyone was complaining about his Twitter. People still complain about his Twitter. What's one of the common things that you hear about, from, commentators in general? I wish he wouldn't tweet so much, and say some of the stuff that he does. And initially I was like, damn, he went like 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. But what people didn't realize is that President Trump he's doing Muhammad Ali right here. Like, you're worried about what he's doing right here. Meanwhile, he's breaking your ribs with his left hand. Trump ends up running his mouth off on Twitter. And then he got 4 other things cooking up over here. I mean, hell, the man has been nominated 2 times this month for a Nobel Peace Prize. And God knows there will be other countries in the Middle East that are going to normalize relationships with Israel in the next few months. I guarantee you that. Will there be a dark horse? Yeah, I almost certain there's going to be a dark horse. It could be Kanye. I don't know. But I Barrett is definitely a big pick, but it wouldn't surprise me if he throws something different. Tim Scott, a Ted Cruz, hell, Kanye, Kim Kardashian. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. The one word you can say about President Trump, and I think everybody can agree with this: unexpected. And that's
40 chest.
Yeah, it's a Kanye would. Honestly, I think we need to start thinking outside the box. The problem with Washington is there's too many politicians. Trump has proven that. And there's actually a few occasional Congress people that have come and gone that have also proven that. But also, maybe part of the problem with the Supreme Court, there's too many lawyers. We need people, simple people who can simply read the Constitution. Oh, this is what they said. Oh, not in the Constitution. So 10th Amendment, up to the state, whatever it is. We need people that they call it Occam's razor. You peel the layers of the onion to actually get the most simple explanation is often the truth. And I think they overcomplicate it, just like Roberts overcomplicated Obamacare. Or just like, in my opinion, Merrick Garland kind of, not Merrick Garland, Gorsuch kind of overcomplicated the Oklahoma thing. I could see where he was going.
Yeah.
I was following him, but it was a stretch, but whatever it is, it's over now. But anyway, what were you going to say? You said,
Chief Justice Roberts didn't overcomplicate anything. He rewrote Obamacare. It's not a tax penalty. It's not a penalty. It's a tax.
They intended a tax.
Surprise me.
Yeah.
That does not surprise me. This comes from the justice that was picked by 43. And
hold on. Let's give 43 also picked Alito, and Alito's been phenomenal. So it's tough.
I'll grant you that, but Alito also died under mysterious circumstances. So
Alito?
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Alito?
Yeah. Or no, Scalia. I'm sorry, not Alito. Scalia. There was vowels and consonants in there, so I got confused.
Scalia was a Reagan appointee. Yeah. Scalia,
right.
Yeah, Reagan appointed Scalia. But then again, Reagan also appointed Kennedy. So, I mean, you just never know what you're going to get. Bush appointed Souter.
We know that in
Wisconsin. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I don't know where Hagedorn's head's at. The one ruling that I actually agreed with him on, I actually respected it because there was the Scalia did not kill himself. No, he didn't. No, but it was the ruling where the mask mandate. I actually followed his logic. And if you follow his logic, it was very well written. It made so much sense. And he actually, you know what? He was right. The other justices were actually legislating from the bench. But his whole argument was basically, the mask mandate.
Was it for the mask mandate or was it for the okay.
Yeah, it was for not the mask mandate, but for the extending the emergency powers over 60 days or whatever, the lockdowns. And he basically was saying that the legislature brought the case, and basically the legislature is not owed a remedy. Someone else you and I needed to bring the case, and then it might have had more merit. That's all he said. And so I agree. Yeah. And he's very much a staunch procedural jurist. He's always had a history of that. Procedures matter to him more than anything.
Sure.
Which unfortunately, that's what
that does make sense for standing.
Yeah. And that is what he was harping on this last time, because he felt he agreed with the liberals on the court this time, basically by saying, because last time he didn't agree with the liberals, he had his own dissent. This time he joined the liberals by saying that we don't have enough time to figure this out. Procedures. I disagree with him, but it's procedures again. It's like, stop that. This is an extraordinary circumstance. Not that it.
Well, and I think
go ahead.
I think the funny thing about it, though, is that it is completely unenforceable. Like, there's outside of like a couple cops in Milwaukee, maybe Madison, nobody's enforcing these mandates. I mean, like, seriously, it is the funniest thing to me just watching people be. And this is one of those things where it's like, I'm kind of glad in some ways, in a perverse, dark way. I'm almost glad this is happening because it really has differentiated people. It brought out the truth in people. It has told us the strong from the weak. It has told us who are the compliant from those that are going to be more freedom seeking. It has exposed people. It's like the internet. I mean, in a ways, I guess I'll reduce it to Twitter. I love Twitter. I do. I hate Twitter. I love Twitter because there's so many trolls, just hateful people. I mean, 20% of the population, I think, people on the internet, they're on Twitter. I mean, the most hateful SOBs on the planet. And I don't engage people, like, even on Facebook. I don't really engage people much. Like, I'll reply back to you, but if you're going to argue, I'll give you maybe one or two tweets, a few zingers, and that's Like I'm like 4 steps ahead of you. I'm not really messing with you. Like I don't need to have the victory online. Twitter is like, hey, I have 240 characters. Let me see how I can like make you feel like poopy. And it's like, I can't deal with you people because I'll try to find you. I can't do that. So, oh no.
Well, that's the problem
Twitter.
with it.
It's a cesspool of the internet.
That's the problem with discourse in general. I mean, it's gotten to the point where we can't have a conversation. And I argue the left has gotten even more unhinged. There's people on the right who are unhinged too. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But they've gotten so far. It's like and it is. You see this beating of each other, and there's no dialogue anymore. There's no discussion. I don't have to agree with you. I just have to understand your point of view, as long as you respectfully understand my point of view. And, we might find some common ground, whatever in the end, or we agree to disagree. We move on, and that's the way it used to be. And for the most part, I try to live that. But people absolutely hate each other because they are ideological opposites.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I noticed, like, for you, you may notice a number of times, like, hey, I have these liberal friends and everything else, and you still maintain these friendships, and God bless you for that, because I can't do it. Like, I literally cannot do it. Like, for me, it's not that I hate you; it's that your belief system is so diametrically opposed to what I believe in that it is literally a threat to my existence, the existence of my children, the existence of my future in my country. It is a threat to my faith, my family, and I can't befriend you because of that. Now, but if we were to sit down and have this conversation in a civil manner, now this changes the dynamics. Because a lot of folks don't even want to do that. Now, if you're not willing to do that, then I can't entertain that. But if you can, then that's where we can put those seeds down. And if you're willing to work with me, and I will work with, then maybe we can harvest the fruits of our labor together.
Yeah, and see, I try to reach across so I can reach more people, because I want our proverbial tent to grow. But there's always that, you find that common ground. I actually, I was at, as a protest, counter protests, our side supporting the police, their side anti-police. Yes. And I mean, it could have turned into something vile. I mean, it could have gotten violent. That's how agitated these people were on both sides. And then I actually found someone that just something, they were having a conversation. So I went and talked to him, and then whatever, we actually had a great conversation. We found some of that. So if I can reach one or two people, then they'll reach one or two people. And I just think, to the point, I'm not saying you have to agree with everything I say, but we got to have a fundamental thing. If we don't have a nation, we don't have anything. Because right now we're not at the point where the government can kill you for what you think. But how long before that happens?
If you said this a year ago, I would have came down to Tulsa and whooped your ass. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, a year ago, if I had said half of the stuff that I say today, I would expect you to come over here and whoop my ass. Like, it blows your mind, because how is it that we've gotten this far within 1 year's time? 1 year. And we're now literally saying that thought police, we're now literally talking about, this is like if you were to make an amalgamation of Idiocracy in 1984. We've literally descended to that extent. Yeah,
that's a great analogy.
Idiocracy is a phenomenal movie, by the way. Watch it, learn.
But we get along because we know each other's politics, so we don't. And that's the whole thing. You can talk about other things. And here I'm gonna pull something up. Indulge me for a minute, because it's my show and you have to.
Yes, sir.
But
I love Paris, by the way. No homo.
Uh, no, come on. You're not, I feel so unloved now.
You don't want to be my twink.
Yeah, not that kind of Greek, but
oh God,
no. Oh man, that's just bad. I gotta share a different article here. Share screen. I gotta pull this up. Here we are. This is Bader Ginsburg on when Antonin Scalia died.
Yeah.
Justice Bader Ginsburg Sunday released a statement. This was when he passed away. Ginsberg and Scalia had a famous odd couple relationship. She is perhaps the court's most liberal justice, while he was a conservative stalwart. But often too talked about their friendship in interviews, blah, 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 blah. This is what she wrote when he passed away. Toward the end of the soap opera, Scalia and Ginsberg, tenor Scalia and soprano Ginsberg sang a duet. We are different. We are one. Different in our interpretation of written texts, one in our reverence for the Constitution and the institution for which we served. Obviously, the subject to interpretation. That's me interjecting. From our years together at the D.C. Circuit, we were best buddies. We disagreed now and then, but when I wrote for the court and received a Scalia dissent, the opinion ultimately released was notably better than my initial circulation. Justice Scalia nailed all the weak spots, the applesauce and the argle-bargle, and gave me just what I needed to strengthen the majority opinion. He was a jurist of captivating brilliance, wit, with rare talent to make even the most sober judge laugh. The press referred to his energetic fervor and astringent intellect, peppery prose, acumen, and affability. Well, those are long words. All apt descriptions. He was eminently quotable. His pungent opinions were so clearly stated that his words never slipped from the reader's grasp. Justice Scalia once described the peak of his days on the bench an evening at the Opera Ball when he joined two Washington national soap opera tenors at the piano for a medley of songs. He called it the famous three tenors performance. He was indeed a magnificent performer. It was my great good fortune to have known him as working colleague and treasured friend. These people are totally opposites, and this is what she wrote about him when he passed away. That's how good of friends they were. Even through that, as opposite as they were, they managed to find a friendship and cultivate. Because if I'm not mistaken, they spent every New Year's Eve together. And there was no hanky-panky. It was just them as friends. Obviously, at their ages, they probably couldn't do much hanky-panky, but it is, and I'm not saying this to be all mushy-gushy or whatever, but I think we got to find that again. We could disagree, but then, hey, let's go out and have a beer and go watch a Bucks game or whatever.
Well, let's do a juxtaposition here. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to Auntie Vodka up here.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Auntie Vodka.
I love Auntie Vodka. She posts some like pretty good stuff on Twitter. She's like one of the reasons why I love Twitter. And then the responses to her, why I hate Twitter. But so I remember when I was in college in the late 90s, middle and late 90s. Yes, I'm old AF. And into the early 2000s, I was on the 14-year freshman program. Most people call it a doctor. I would call it an associate's degree. But I was in school like forever. But what was interesting was I did a paper on Chief Justice William Rehnquist. And I did it on him in particular because he's from Wisconsin. And obviously, you got a boy from Wisconsin who ascended to become the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. I mean, that's if that's not like plus ultra phenomenal, I don't know what is. And I did it on him. And in doing this research, I got to read on a lot of these Supreme Court justices from the past. Some of them were horrible individuals, like, These were people that should go to hell. Some of them were just phenomenal individuals that have like a free pass to heaven. But regardless of who I researched, one of the things that, and this was the final paper that I wrote, was kind of trying to break down the writings and the opinions, the major cases of the Supreme Court justices into a condensed, easily understandable way that the average person can understand. Because when you look at Supreme Court justice, it doesn't matter if they ruled on Dred Scott. It doesn't matter if they ruled on Roe v. Wade. It doesn't matter what they ruled on. These people were phenomenal, all of them. Their mental acuity was just off the hook. And what amazes me about them is they could disagree with you in the most vehement ways possible and articulate it, but yet still maintain their tips. And what's interesting is that I think because of their higher levels of thinking, they're able to do that. Whereas for the average person, I don't think they can ascend to that at this particular point. And maybe that's a point that we're missing here. Maybe we need to, like you said, and you talk about this all the time, talk to people overall, right? Left, center, middle, everywhere in between, and get everybody and raise everybody up to ascend to that level where we can have that conversation with people, disagree, yet still go out for a beer and pizza.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's interesting.
Well, you know who the biggest culprits are in all this? The media. I think what we need to do, we need to get Trump reelected, and the media needs a major metaphorical kick in the ass, because they need to be, oh my gosh, there we go. Yeah, Auntie Vodka said it. This is exactly, the media disappeared tomorrow. I'm just saying that they need to disappear, but they need to disappear as they exist today. They need to, yes, great minds, Auntie Vodka. Imagine what else we think alike on. But ultimately, oh no, she's beautiful. I know her. I know her personally. Know her. I've seen. But anyway, inside and out. But they have. Tracy's going to make a comment. I'm sure.
Paris, I'm just gonna tell you shit right now. Sometimes you are like cringe AF, man. But I love you still. Just to say, you are my brother.
I have to say it. No, but where was I going with all this? Oh yeah, the media is driving this. Have you noticed everything? It's like, okay, there were a couple hundred protesters when George Floyd died. Okay, and at the time, because we didn't have all the facts, his death looked really questionable. Nobody can argue that. It looked questionable, but we didn't have all the facts. Cooler heads needed to prevail. Now we have more facts. Yeah, there's still some questionable things there, but I don't think it rises to the level of murder, in my opinion. But is it negligent? Absolutely. I think there was some negligence, whatever. But that's not what the point I'm making. But they immediately gave attention to the more rowdy type. So they started getting more rowdy because they saw they were getting the attention. And obviously that's being stirred by some elected officials. Obviously, the George Soros types, we say it's George Soros, but God only knows. I mean, it could be the governor of Minnesota for all we know. But they're stirring the pot, they're fanning the flames, and the media is there ready to go. Just like they were ready to go at Oliver Stone's house when he got arrested by the FBI.
Yep.
This frail old man
Roger Stone.
Roger Stone. I said Oliver Stone. Oh, speaking
I
of,
was gonna say like he.
dude,
Yes,
I
sir.
watched JFK again for the first time in forever. I watched the extended edition. After seeing what we saw in 2016, a lot of that stuff in that movie, not too far-fetched.
Let me just throw this at you. I'm
He's
of the
throwing stuff.
belief that JFK was killed by a magic bullet. Like literally, there was no second shooter. There may not have even been a first shooter. It was a magic bullet. It was like a bullet that was sprinkled with pixie dust, and it did whatever it was. It did. At this point, it's 2020. We're throwing it out there. We don't care. It's God. You are absolutely correct. It is the mainstream media. The mainstream media is the biggest culprit out there. When we take a look at the left in general, when we take a look at the radicalized left, the radicalized left, obviously you have the AOCs, you have the Justice Democrats, you got Nancy Pelosi, who is literally in their pocket, and she's the one calling the shots, obviously. I'll just call it what it was. But you notice the mainstream media, what they did, and I think it was just last night, Fox News, they cut off Newt Gingrich when he brought up Soros. Oh my God. Really? Because Soros has a track record of organizations that he has funded, multiple organizations. And the interesting thing is that for the novice, for the uninitiated, they think it's just Soros. But there are so many other players that are in the shadows out there, people that are on the same level and above Soros. And what's interesting about that is they cut off Gingrich because he brought up Soros. And it makes you think, wow, who's on the board of Fox News? Well, Wisconsin's own. And well, by the way, wait, yes, sir, Paul Ryan. And not only that, but Rupert Murdoch's sons aren't necessarily as conservative or straight shooters as he was before his passing. And they are moving Fox News further to the left.
Don Barber has a new theory too about Kennedy. Just like Jeffrey Epstein, Kennedy killed himself.
Oh,
yeah, that's what he did.
Best shot ever. Best shot.
I mean, look at this. Did we land on the moon? And you guys realize that the Flat Earth Society has members around the globe.
Big brain energy right there. Big brain.
AOC is hot. Yes. You know what? When she did that music video, she did that music video. I was like, wow, she's beautiful. And she's got this effervescent personality. She's just, she's just not, she doesn't think with her brain often. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, she's a beautiful girl, but her ideology makes her kind of ugly.
I'm just gonna throw this out here, and this is one of those few cringe moments I'm gonna have. Like, AOC's hot AF. Like, ain't nobody kicking her out of their bed. Like, she is like, she's scrumdiddlyumptious. I'm just gonna say that. If she was like quiet and like didn't say anything, it'd be even better. But like, she's that bartender that you were like, damn, here's $5 for that one Jack and Coke.
I don't even think she knows I don't think she even knows what she believes. I think she's being handled just like a couple of those
I know she
Congress,
is.
Yeah.
I know she is. There's a YouTube video out there. Take a look for I think it's Mike Reagan. He goes under the YouTube handle of Mr. Reagan. And it breaks down the basically the ascension of AOC. Yeah, it's AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and I think Ilhan Omar were also part of this. Look up the group.
There's one more.
Justice Democrats. There is one more, and I cannot remember. I can never remember that last one's name, but it breaks down the Justice Democrats, Psycrat Shakabadi, and there was another white guy, but I cannot remember his name. But this guy is like dangerous as hell. And what makes them dangerous is that they're believers. And the thing about a believer is that you got to be very careful about is that they will not, like, you cannot change their opinion. It doesn't matter. Facts, you can show the evidence. Things can play out in front of them. All of that be damned. And these people are believers. They will do anything to achieve their goals. And what they ended up doing, basically, they auditioned people for these roles. And then after, I believe it was a 2016 2018, those elections, they made it a point to put in so-called Republicans to run in, which were basically Democrats that were going to run as Republicans, but they were kind of weak, but they were stronger than the Democrats in terms of electability. And they were going into the suburb and rural areas. And I am seeing it out here where I am at. Other people are doing it as well. And I'm working on doing something about that going forward. So, but that's something I want you, obviously, I think you know about that and your listeners to know about too.
Yeah. Well, and it is, they recruited candidates around the country. It is, she answered an ad. And she was the one that was picked. And she is, I mean, she comes across as dumb as a rock, but she's probably smart. She's good at marketing herself. It's kind of like Paris Hilton. I mean, Paris Hilton.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
See what?
Paris Hilton, apparently she's got some YouTube thing coming out here. And she's 39 now. And like, Paris Hilton was not attractive to me. But today, I watched this video with her. She is like freaking exquisitely beautiful. Like, she's like scrumdiddlyumptious too. And basically everything that you know from, like, let's go 2019 and back. Apparently, she says she's just playing a role.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch
what it is.
This Paris Hilton. Watch this Paris Hilton versus the Paris Hilton you've known in the past. And it's almost like you're looking at two different people, both physically and what you're hearing from her.
Isn't it amazing when you hear, and I'm going to come across as being sexist, but I'm not trying to, because I'm sure it happens with men too. But when I look at a woman who is talking intelligently and all that, I mean, it adds to their beauty so much. It's not just the physical beauty. Absolutely. If someone's got a brain, no, they don't have to be a rocket scientist, but they, just, you could talk about issues or talk about something you're passionate about. I don't care if it's basket weaving or if you like hot rods. I don't care. If you can talk about it and you can have an intelligent conversation over it, it's hot.
Yep. See, I need a woman that makes me feel like insufficient in at least one way. And like,
I don't want to
my
know.
wife, Jen. What? No. Not that. Damn it, man. No. But like, my wife, there are certain areas where it's like, yes, ma'am. And that's all I can do. Like, I can hold an intelligent enough conversation with her, but she's running the show. It's like, I can contribute minutia, but you're going to give the okay. Like, I'm not in this arena like you are. Where'd Paris go?
I'm here.
We need a periscope. Your video just cut out. So we need, I can hear you, but we need a periscope.
Yes, the periscope. Bear with me. I'm having technical
difficulties. His USB for his camera just unplugged.
Oh, battery went dead.
Damn.
It'll be a minute. I'm coming back, I promise. So we're gonna make it the El Delgado show for a minute. How do I do this? Nope. nope, I gotta do this.
We veered off because of AOC. I'm sorry. Go back on track here. Go RBG.
RBG, yes. Well, I mean, it is part of it. I mean, this all ties together, and I think ultimately we're going to have a major fight happening. The dynamics just changed. I think this helps the Republicans. Some people think it doesn't help the Republicans. Some people think it hurts. If we do it right, and we actually, gosh, I gotta get this thing restarted. Come on, baby, restart.
As Paris is doing that, I'm just going to add this part here, that I think that Paris is absolutely right. You know, we got to do certain things right. I think we need to not just, we can't be dicks overall. We can't just go out there and say, you know, celebrate the death of RBG. I did that when it came to John McCain. Don't get me wrong, and I don't regret it. But RBG is very different from John McCain. But I think the bottom line here is ourselves. We need to basically do our end and do it with style, class, and grace, and ethically. Ultimately, I think the wild card here is going to be President Trump. And President Trump's going to kind of give you the lead. President Trump is going to be the individual that's going to tell you not so much your talking points and what you need to do, but look to the unconventional aspects of what the president does. Paris, welcome back, brother. I see you.
Yeah, I know. It took you a minute to see me. So, by the way, we've got an opportunity here to capitalize this, and you know the Democrats are going to go batshit crazy over this, and I hope they do. And they're going to already are. And this is going to add to them. Oh my God. You know, we haven't cheated for the election yet. We got to wait for us to cheat first. So that's going to be ultimately what they're going to do. I think Ginsberg, I mean, she's a, you know, historic figure because she's been on the court forever. Yes. Major legislation has been up or down with her. I think the dynamics of the court will change. But I think the conservatives, like I said, conservatives need to chill the hell out. I don't like the fact that they want to prejudge a case. I don't like that at all. I don't care what the case is. You have to say, oh, good, now we can ban abortion. It's not going to happen. We have to have a case. It's got to go through the court system. There's so much that has to happen. And
the right case has to come about.
Right. And it has to be the right case. And then on top of that, I don't pretend to be a constitutional scholar, but I think ultimately Roe v. Wade's going to get thrown out and it's going to be remanded to the states. That's going to be the solution.
Thank you.
So if you don't like abortion, live in Alabama. If you want abortion, live in California. If that's your issue, you know, I can't. It's like it's crazy how they're so hard line on this. It's like, whatever.
Let me go back to a comment I made earlier in your show. I mentioned that, and it was weird because, you know, I had to put it, I just really condensed it. RBG's death is a terrible thing. We knew it was coming, though. I made jokes about her, you know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, the bionic,
like a cyborg.
Our first bionic justice.
Right, you know, Terminator-esque thing. Futurama has made jokes about her. Because, you know, if any of you guys watch Futurama, yes, I'm a nerd. That's right. I'm a 285-pound nerd, and I'm proud of it. And I'm very... Paris is scratching his back. That is epic.
I had to scratch
my back. That's like kind of epic. It's like, damn, that's like... All right, cool. So, you know, Futurama, the cartoon TV show. See, now we're bringing out action figures and stuff here. Oh man, All Might's coming out in a little fuzzy. Anyway, so in Futurama, they have these Supreme Court justices, and they're in that little timeline, 31st century. Characters were like the heads were in jars, but they're still like, living, thinking creatures and whatever. Jokes aside, her death was terrible. And it is terrible simply for the fact that it's a loss of life in the family.
Yeah, it's sad, but she, what did they say? She lived a full life and all that stuff. She didn't die at 25.
Right.
She's, almost 90 years old and stuff like that. So,
right.
Or she almost, 80.
So we celebrate her exquisite mind. Even if we have to disagree with it. The fact of the matter is that she was certainly pro-abortion. Mm-hmm. And there's multiple articles, there's multiple stories, there's multiple rulings about her commentary on the pro-choice argument. The bottom line is that the 73 ruling of Roe v. Wade was a phenomenon. It was one of the worst decisions short of Dred Scott, because basically what it did was it cobblestone a bunch of different amendments, and then it added more too.
Yeah, it was
create
wrong.
A right that was not. Go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, a right that didn't exist. It was wrong. It was an incorrect decision. It was not constitutional. But again, it had, just like the recent decision on gay marriage. Unfortunately, that's something that shouldn't have been even in the courts. It should have gone to the 10th Amendment at that point. And then ultimately,
yes, sir.
The Democrats and Republicans are both stupid on that. The answer to it would have been get the government the hell out of the marriage business. Then it wouldn't have mattered. If you want to go get married, go get married, whatever.
But I think what's interesting though, let's take the marriage issue, for example. It has to be a federal issue simply because we need to deal with interstate commerce. So if I'm married in Wisconsin, then if I decide to move to California, I should still be married there.
Yeah, but that would have been
should still cross over.
Yeah, it just needed that was a case of them create. There is no right to marriage in the Constitution, so I think they should have just. I don't know. It should have never gotten to the Supreme Court. But then our government is stupid. They don't want to solve problems.
But the Ninth Amendment is personal rights. So this is something still constitutional. I don't agree with gay marriage. I think gay marriage should have been something that should have been done with, you could call it a civil union, something else. I mean, there's a number of different arguments you can make to that. But let's move to abortion, though, which is going to be the hot button when it comes to dealing with the new Supreme Court justice.
Oh, God. Yeah. They're talking about it tonight already.
Right. My thing with as far as the abortion issue, and don't get me wrong, what I'm about to say is gonna piss somebody off. My wife is gonna kick my ass.
Uh-oh.
When it comes to abortion, the bottom line is that you might have to attend my funeral, because this woman fought 2.5 the last half inch is a knife. She will cut me. Bill Lefkowski mentioned it's a morality issue. You cannot legislate morality. I agree with you, but you cannot legislate morality. Here's the thing. The genie is out of the bottle. You cannot put it back in. What are you going to do? Wisconsin is pro-life and Illinois is pro-choice and Minnesota is pro-life. Great. So what happens to the person that's living in the UP that needs an abortion? The bottom line is that, and I believe that I had it right in the late 80s, early 90s, safe, legal, and rare. Bottom line is that I think abortion is here. And that's the bottom line. And we need to make it to it shouldn't go anywhere. Roe v. Wade is bad law. It needs to be states' rights, but it needs to be regulated, not outlawed. And we need to use common sense, because the individual in Milwaukee, LA is going to be different than the individual in, say, I don't know, Montello or Germania or any other little town.
Yep. But they need to be able to.
Sense.
They need to be able to have all the alternatives, and that's a problem. I think they should take away the ability of providing abortions from Planned Parenthood. They should be, it should be done in medical facilities, actual medical facilities. Take the business aspect out of it. That'll help, and that type of thing. And tactically, I think you've got more groups coming in trying to reach out to girls, giving them those options as opposed to you're a murderer, getting in their face and it's not, that tactic. I don't care how passionate you are about being anti-abortion. It doesn't work. And then I should have a young lady I had on. She actually is very passionate about that, but we got to find out why they're happening. And then we got to attack those issues, whether they're economic, whether it's, I don't know, they got raped by an uncle, or there's all kinds of circumstances. But can't. They
always use the one-off, though.
Yeah,
they always use the one-off. What happens if you're raped by the crazy Uncle Joe Biden type character? And it's like, all right, first it would meet Joe Biden because he'd be sniffing everybody. He's not looking to penetrate; he just wants to sniff. But they always use the one-off circumstance. And yes, I said it. I'm a horrible person. I understand that. I accept it. Yes. The smell of blondes. Anyway,
I'm getting smelled. Joe Biden smelling my hair now. See, there he is. There.
That's Paris Smollett. Smell it.
Smollett.
I don't know. Yeah, see Smollett. Don't even get started on him. But this is going to be the hot button issue here going for the next Supreme Court justice, because a lot of people are going to say that, oh my God, they're going to reverse Roe v. Wade. There's going to be a middle ground. There has to be a middle ground when it comes to that particular issue.
You got to pull back slow. It is. You got to pull back. Just like years ago, remember Tommy Thompson, welfare. Wisconsin was a huge welfare state. And he introduced,
yes,
and the hardliners in the Republican Party were like, take it away. Just take it away. And Tommy Thompson came up with W-2. Well, we're going to give you 2 years. And in that 2 years, we're going to also pay for some training so you can learn the skills so you can get back to work. And that type of thing. So like welfare to work type of program. And that was the model ultimately for the national program. Yeah. Before, something Clinton signed into law before Obama removed it. But, that's the thing. Yeah, we're going to. Oh man, I'm actually about to cut things off here shortly, but it's important.
Should we just do the 2-hour mark just for him?
I can't. I got too much going on tomorrow.
Come on, man.
I got stuff going on early tomorrow. But now you guys are welcome to broadcast together, but what we have here is an opportunity. We need to capitalize on this. The Supreme Court is the most important thing right now. So that means if you don't vote, if you're a non-voter who hasn't voted because you think, oh, I don't vote for Republicans or Democrats, they're two sides of the same coin, or you don't, nothing changes, why bother voting? This election matters to the point of, okay, we've got socialism versus capitalism. It's on the ballot. We've got law and order versus riots on the ballot. We've got the Supreme Court that needs to remain, because you got to, ever since Reagan, probably even before that, we've had at least a 5-4 court conservative.
Yeah.
Hasn't been perfect, but it's a lot better than what it would have been had it not been that. And I actually kind of like having such tight I like having tight margins because it keeps the tyrants away on both sides. And there are tyrants on both sides.
Thank you.
We are not a 100% conservative nation, in the end. Liberals are Americans too. And to your liberals, conservatives are Americans too. So I don't know. So we gotta embrace this. You know, life has given us lemonade. I'm curious to see how Trump will do it, and how he's going to. Tonight he was beautiful. It was interesting. I was watching his rally. His rally was in Minnesota, and Minnesota was a big rally. He was talking, and then all of a sudden I got a ping on my Apple Watch, and here's my commercial for Apple Watch, great device. Okay. And it got this ad is not sponsored by Apple. Okay. Yeah. My opinions are my own and should not be construed as anyway. So popped on my Apple Watch, RBG died. And then he kept talking and he kept talking and he kept talking. It was like almost another hour when he finally finished. And then I was watching the feed, and then finally the news caught up with him, and he's like, you could tell he was caught off guard, but he basically said, she was a great woman, she's very accomplished, great woman, and it's a sad day or whatever, and he handled it beautifully. He didn't get into politics at that point, and I think, but I think he's got I think this is going to be his sink or swim moment. Right here.
I think that already happened.
I hope you're right, but he could botch this, and if he botches this, he's done.
No, and I think you can have your sink or swim moment, but at the same point, a few days later, shit the bed and literally poop all over the place. But I think at this particular juncture, what we're going to have here, Mitch McConnell already put out there that they're going to have a vote. They're going to do it. Trump said already in a release that he's going to nominate somebody in the next few days. However, he also did mention that, that I think there was a little release, and I saw that. And he talked about the great accomplishments and the highlights of RBG. So it's not like he was being insensitive or anything. He was doing his duty as the president of the United States of America. Here's the thing. And let's tie this all together in a neat little bow, as I love to do, because I do tangents like a champ, but I like to tie it together. A Supreme Court justice died tonight, and she was left to center. I don't think she was radical, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Who, Ginsberg?
But there are people that are more. Yes, she was not.
Mm-hmm. Nope,
However,
agree.
I think there are people that want the radicals on the court, and that is their goal. They want to literally destroy this country as it is, make it America name only. I think president is not a conservative. He's a populist, and he is looking for somebody to bring back what we once had: left, right, both Americans. And what we're looking at here in the future, we are looking at, well, I guess I should say short-term future. We will look at riots. The riots have quelled because of the federalization of the state police. Look at Portland. Look at Milwaukee. Look at Kenosha. They have stopped. However, we will see an uptick in this. We will see with the Transition Integrity Commission or project or whatever the hell they want to call themselves here come to fruition to a certain extent come November 3rd, going forward up into January. We will see this. In the end, I will tell you, we will look at a House Republican majority. I will tell you, we will look at a Senate majority, supermajority in the Senate. We will look at 4 more years of President Trump. But understand, the road to get there will be hell. Mm-hmm. And we will have that confirmed Supreme Court justice, but it will be after the inauguration of President Donald Trump. But it will be hell.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Christine,
to see how
said, are we back on topic? I love Christine's comment, but it's like it all ties together, though. It really does, because if you think about this, it is the AOC, Rashida Tlaib, the Ilhan Omar wing of the Democrat Party that has led Nancy Pelosi onto this path of self-destruction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nancy didn't know how to handle it. That's her problem. And
Right.
you know, yes, we're back on topic. Yeah, Comey Barrett. I think he should go hard with a staunch conservative right now.
Yep.
And then let the chips fall where they may. I'm glad that Mitch is sticking to it too, but it's going to be a fight because constitutionally he has the right to appoint a freaking Supreme Court justice. It's in the Constitution. I mean, and I argued that back then with Obama. He had a right to appoint. Yeah, Mitch stood in the way. And you know damn well if the Democrats were in charge of the Senate and it was Obama, you know damn well they would appoint that justice, even if it was a day before the election.
So back to 2016. So they did payback for what the Democrats did. Is that going to come back to bite the Republicans in the ass here in 2020?
Say it again.
Okay, go back to summer of 2016, the summer, fall of 2016. Is that going to come back to bite? You know, they did that because it was payback for what the Democrats had done in the past.
No, it
Is
won't.
That going to come back to bite them in the ass?
Nope. It won't, because it ultimately, you know, it was the Democrats. We used a Joe Biden rule. That was the Joe Biden rule. Oh, you've got appointment. So now we can actually use Joe Biden's words to say, oh, yes, the president has every right to appoint. So in the end, he basically wanted to prevent Obama from appointing a justice. That was his whole point. If it was a Democrat-controlled Senate, they would have appointed an Obama justice. You know, I don't know. You know, let's be honest. Mitch McConnell, with what he did in 2016, it was a colossal gamble.
It was, yes.
Because, you know, Merrick Garland, he was definitely left of center. And my big thing, he was very anti-Second Amendment, but he was not a radical either. He really wasn't. I give Obama credit for not appointing a radical there. But he was
worthy.
Yeah. He would have been well qualified. But he would have had that backfired and Hillary Clinton won. She would have appointed, and it would not been a Merrick Garland. It would have been a Bernie Sanders or something.
God.
But that's what it would have been. So it was a colossal gamble. We got lucky. And then, you know, obviously so I'm hoping the Democrats screw the pooch. They're going to do it. They're going to find a way to get stupid and vile, and that's going to backfire on them. And then we will start winning Senate seats that we weren't expecting to win. And we will also, I'm looking at the polls in Real Clear Politics. They're all Biden all over the place. And I don't buy it.
But look at Rasmussen. It puts Trump up. And it's ridiculous how much it has Trump up compared to, say, a week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I want to go to a comment in Paris, if you would be so kind. Go to Tracy's comment on here about I do feel we are on. Do you see it there?
How far back does it go? Oh, okay.
right
Let's not
there.
go on too much of a tangent because I do have to cut this short. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. When individuals, and I had this conversation with my brother tonight, and I have a brother who lives in the Milwaukee area, and we've talked about this at great length. And Tracy says here, do I feel we are on the brink of civil war? No, it's here. It's just, we were in a cold civil war for a long time. We called it a culture war. Bottom line is, it's here. We've had individuals killed. We've on both sides, left and right, radicalized. The bottom line is that what happens here going forward here, it's going to be the most unconventional civil war we've ever seen. We're not talking about the Civil War of the 1850s, 1860s. We're not talking about Kosovo or Ukraine or anything else like that. This will be major cities. It will be suburb areas. It's here. Lives have been lost. It is unconventional. The Supreme Court justice is an integral part of all of this. And what happens come November 3rd? And this is why, and Paris has talked about this at great length, episode after episode after episode. Get out there and vote in person. Your vote matters. It does. I mean, like literally, it does matter. And
we know that
if you want to vote early, by all do it.
But just do it in person. I don't trust the Postal Service. And come on. Okay. Oh, millions of people decided to cast their vote by mail the day of the election. Bull crap. You know,
right.
I'm sorry. I have no respect for somebody. Okay. If you're suffering from health issues, you have underlying conditions and everything else. Yeah, by all means, mail in your ballot. Do an absentee ballot because there's a process for that validates your signature and all that stuff, okay? By all means, do it. But I'm sorry, but if you can go to a frickin' Walmart, you can get your ass out there to vote. You know, so
thank you.
Yep, and that'll be it. And the only way to offset us a full-fledged Civil War type of situation is law and order. And who's the only person supporting law and order?
You know what's funny about that, though? It's interesting how, like, all of a sudden, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, now all of a sudden they're condemning violence and everything else. And
that's because they saw the poll numbers.
Right. Not only did you see the poll numbers, like, Kamala, come on. You were talking about don't stop. Nancy, you said don't stop. And there's video. And let's be honest. The internet doesn't forget because I don't know if you guys know about Twitchy.
Yep.
There's
we got everything
and tweets out there. Oh, we got it all. I'm so excited.
Check this scary thought out.
Oh God. Oh God.
That's what
what she reminds me of? You know what she reminds me of? Is that if the crypt keeper from Tales from the Crypt underwent transgender reassignment surgery? I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, she's got to go.
God.
So, all right. Well, on that worthy note, yep, we gotta go. So, thank you so much for joining me. But yeah, I wasn't going to do a show tonight, but yeah, this was important because it's going to be historic. Whatever is going to happen, it's going to be interesting. I look to find a reaction of the left now. They're just going to be the people that were like, Obama got appointed justice. No, Trump does get an appointed justice. And the Republicans are the same way. You know what? It's today. Right now, the Republicans have control. They have the presidency. And guess what? Republican legislature is in office till January 2nd or 3rd. And the president is in office until January the 20th. Deal with it. It's in the Constitution. All right. Thank you, Ed. We will be talking soon.
Paris. Before I leave, I'm just going to ask you first at some point in the very near future, who wants an after show? Got it. I love Auntie Vodka. First, at some point, in the near future, I'd love to have you on my podcast when you have the opportunity. So if you want to hit me up, or I can hit you up here.
Tell everybody when your podcast is.
So I run the Caramel Conservative podcast, 8 p.m. Tuesday Central Standard Time, and Larry's been like checking in and stuff. Larry's got some crazy stuff, but I have live call in, chat room, all that other good stuff there. So we run that there. I'm going to be starting up a second show, just simply a STS, what I call that. That's simply shooting the shit just kind of whatever comes up is what it is.
Uh-oh, that'll be fun.
So I'll be throwing that out there.
And I know you and Ian are talking about things too, so we'll see what happens.
Yes, and Ian, we're talking about putting a show together.
Yep. So we'll keep it under wraps right now. Keep it under wraps, but we'll see what happens.
So between work and real life and everything, but I want to, before I leave though, I just want to let everyone know, look out there, guys, and understand there are terrible things happening out there. Obviously, people have died. You feel overwhelmed. And I know that as part of the plan of the left is to throw everything at you, make you feel overwhelmed, and just succumb and just say, you know what, fine, we'll elect Biden, and then life will go back to normal. And withstand the storm. Understand that with all these villains out there, that you guys can be a hero in your family, your home, your community, your state, your nation. I cannot stress that enough to you guys.
I could be. Yep, absolutely. I'm showing my muscles. No, but absolutely.
Paris is this guy right here.
See the
that physique. Look at that form.
Yeah, I'm working on it. No, but honestly, think about this. I think we come to a point where too many people are heroes now, by the media and people way in general. Yeah, and just because somebody wears a uniform, they're automatically a hero. No, it's actions. It's always actions. Just because teachers stayed home, but did online courses for 2 hours a day last spring, that made them heroes. Yeah. No, they just they're getting state funding for working a couple hours a week. I'm sorry. It's not, doesn't make them a hero. They have a job. They had a job to do. They did their job. So doesn't make them a hero. I still worked. Other people still worked or whatever, so that's not heroic. So we got to get to the point. But at this point, our nation needs saving. We are at a crossroads. And I think we need to have like 65% voter. Yeah, and we really got to fix that lag issue, Ed.
I know, and I'm gonna work on it. I got a better internet. I got a better ISP, and I know part of what I have to get hardwired on here. But part of that, the solution to that. Damn it, man! Why are you doing it? All right, hold. I don't even know what I'm saying here. Anyway, let me wear it like I wear it where I go out. All right. Anyway, part of that problem, part of the solution, though, is that each one of us needs to step up our game. Each one of us has that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, whether or not we want to take that opportunity, whether or not we want to. As a father, I do not want to go to my grave knowing that my children saw me as a coward, somebody that was complacent. I want my children to say, you know what, my dad stood up for what he believed in. He showed me the way, freedom, liberty, the republic. And you may not feel that you yourself can do it, but what if you, me, Paris, Ian C. Jordan, Christopher Lawrence, Hilario De Leon, Bob Donnell. What would happen if we took our combined efforts and made something and became more? And this is the opportunity that we have here. So galvanize ourselves, folks.
And we
need brighter days ahead.
Yep, and we need to step out of our comfort zone because in order to get those brighter days. Sir. We've got to act, and this is the moment in time that we have to act. It isn't, and like in Wisconsin, they're complaining, okay, Kanye isn't on the ballot, and the Green Party's not on the ballot. We shouldn't need to depend on them anyway. We need to show up in enough numbers that it doesn't matter, and that's all that's got to matter. Yes, the Democrats are playing dirty pool, but you know what? Let's be honest, they're playing to win too. And we got to play to win. We're in the battle of our lives right now. It was funny. You mentioned
the only fair fight?
What? What's
What's
that?
the only fair fight?
What's that?
What is the only fair fight?
Tell me.
The one you walk away from.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So any fight we get into, you mentioned Bob Donnell, and I'm kind of privy to
Yes.
certain email chains. And there was a situation where, Eric Trump came into town and he was talking to some of the
Yes.
Milwaukee County leadership and stuff like that. And the head of the Milwaukee County Republicans, David Karst, was in there. And he talked about all the good things they're doing, stuff like that. And then Bob Donnell got a chance to speak. This Bob Donnell is very widely respected. And he basically said, Milwaukee County hasn't done shit in the past 20 years, basically. And blah, blah, blah. He did this in front of Eric Trump. And then there was another chairperson from a different county, in the sticks, who said he had sent an email privately to Bob, basically saying, remove me from all your lists. It was uncalled for that you outed, you said something about a chairperson in front of Eric Trump, blah, 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 blah. And he basically said, he responded and copied everybody and basically said, he said, we're in a war for our very freedom here. This is history, and Wisconsin is ground zero. If we lose Wisconsin, we may end up losing the world because everything's going to fall into chaos. If there's no America, there's no other refuge. So he basically said that, and he goes, and if you're not in here to fight to win, then go fuck off. Pardon me, there's my F-bomb for the night. But here's an 80-year-old man with more passion. And then you mentioned Hilario De Leon, and I've had him on my show a couple times. I'm going to have him on again. And yes, Hilario, you got to remind me to post that article. But Hilario, he's 19 years old. 19 years old, and he's showing he's doing more work than most of the 20-somethings and 30-somethings out there and 40-somethings out there, the ones who should be out there working. And when we say working, it's getting people out to vote. It's engaging people. Having a conversation is working. Filling out a personal letter to your friend, doing letters to the editor. We're doing rallies and doing other things to get people kind of motivated to do stuff and give them the tools that they can go out there and talk to. That's what we need to do. We're in the fight for our lives. And we're in the fight for America. I mean, it's basically, do you want to live in 1984? And I'm talking about George Orwell.
And you are absolutely correct. And it's interesting because prior to the discovery of the New World, and I understand Native Americans are here in the New World. And when we speak of the New World, we talk about the New World as it relates to the known world, Europe, Africa, Asia. But there was the Straits of Gibraltar. There's pillars. They called them the Pillars of Hercules. And there's a phrase there. And I love this phrase.
Hold on a second. What do you have against the gays of Gibraltar?
Nothing about the gays. I mean, they can do their thing as long as they're not hitting on me. It's all good.
You said the Straits. So I couldn't resist. Anyway, you were talking about the Pillars of Hercules.
But along there was an inscription, and it said "Non terra plus ultra," which meant no land further beyond. And Reagan said this as well. If American Falls, and I'm paraphrasing, American Falls, there's nothing beyond this. And I need people to remember this. Non terra plus ultra. There is no land further beyond. If America falters, there is nothing else. But there is a choice. We can fall back and be subjugated, or we can do something different. We can have America and what it stands for, and to go beyond, to do as in Latin plus ultra, to go further beyond. And this is the path that I choose to go forward with. And I believe you and your listening audience would do the same. And it is working because it is for our children.
Absolutely. And this isn't Democrat or Republican anymore. This is really, do we start a new are we starting a new chapter in American history and the beginning of our decline, or are we going to continue on and become better? And that's, I mean, literally what's happening here. Back in the other day, Democrat won. Okay, fine. We'll get them next time. Not the end of the world. But to you never Trumpers, this is especially to the never Trumpers who may be watching. I get watched a lot by
Charlie,
never, especially one from Caledonia. He always, anyway, but but think about this. To the never Trumpers who you say, we can get the presidency next time. It's just 4 years. Look at the damage Obama did in 2 when he had the full Congress. 2 years is all it took.
Terms.
Yeah. No, I'm just talking his first 2 years. He had a little bit of a barrier.
All right, big brain.
Yeah. Yeah. But his first 2 years, the damage he did, and 4 years is an eternity. So listen, honestly, and we're going to be coming on here. We're doing a radio show. It's not that hard. If you guys want to do your own radio show, ask me, ask Ed. We'll show you how to do it, or a podcast. You don't need anything expensive.
I'll walk you through it.
Yeah, you can do it on your flipping iPhone. The camera on this is phenomenal. Whatever you want to do. Ed, I really gotta get going. So
yes, sir. Let me
have an awesome night.
One more thing.
That's how we always get on those handouts. You're worse than Steve Jobs.
I know. I really am. I might be worse than Donald Trump.
Don't make me cut you.
Funny is like, oh damn, I'm sorry. My bad.
I got my lightsaber.
Yeah, I'm in trouble now. Darth Maul over here. No, seriously though. Thank you, Paris, for allowing me the privilege of
It's all your fault, Hilario. Just because really we can say goodbye for an hour. Are you sure you're not part Greek?
He might be. He's not sure. But seriously, in all honesty, though, thank you for the privilege of allowing me to be on your show. I really do truly appreciate the honor of you sharing your time with me and us getting this conversation out there, because I think, like you said, we're at a crossroads. We're either free or we're subjugated. In the end, that's really where it is. And thank you. And that's all I got. I'm out.
Yeah, that's all you got. Well, I have to say, when you talk about, go back, if anybody wants to, watch Donald Trump's speech tonight in Minnesota. There was a point he's talking about his teleprompter operator. Yeah. He's like, what are you doing? You're only on line 2. And he's already been talking for almost an hour. He said, and he basically asked the crowd, do you want the teleprompter or do you want just me? And the crowd just said, just you. The crowd loved it. He ad-libbed the whole time. He did it for over an hour. I'm telling you guys, Joe Biden.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Biden.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. So, well, listen, Ed, thank you so much for coming on. Do I know Joe Rogan? Yes, I know Joe Rogan.
Do you know about the debate question?
Yeah, I know. I heard he did. Trump accepted.
That'd be awesome. I still don't think Biden's going to be the nominee or the nominee ultimately,
I'm with you.
But that'll be
it'll
be for another day. Auntie Vaca, I will check. Paris, thank you again, sir.
Yeah, she wants after hours, so I'm going to have to start getting undressed. Woohoo! Okay. Now, all right. Good night, Ed. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
So long. All right. This is Paris Prokopis signing out. Thank you for sticking in for the long haul. Another 2-hour show. Word. Yes, Auntie Vaca. Yes, Hilario. We've got to see if you're Greek. You might be Greek. You never know. Or you might just want to be Greek. So, remember, everybody, get to work. There's a lot of work to do. There's plenty of work for anybody. Even if you volunteer at the local Republican Party headquarters, you don't have to join the party. Just right now, the Republicans are only thing standing between us and totalitarianism. They may not be perfect, but they're the best option you have right now. All right, everybody, good night. So long, sweet dreams, and I will talk to you soon. So long. Bye.